Dear community, today with me, we've got Michael Muite, all the way from Kenya. I love that country and I love Germany too. It's a honor for me and a pleasure having you, dear Michael. You are a mentor, you are a senior solution engineer at Erica. You're also a trainer and a public speaker. You have a long, good, great story, and you'll give us a bit of it today. You studied in the USA, but you decided to go back to Kenya and create an impact there. Our topic today, how do we create impact with IT projects to the community? You are not only an IT specialist, but you also love community building. And that's why you're here so that we share with the world how you create responsible solutions. Dear Michael, I'm happy that you're here. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Susan. It's indeed a great honor for me to be here. And I'm glad to hear that you still love Kenya because we would like to grab you and have you come here and make an impact. So an
Oh, that
honor to
honors me
be here
too.
for sure. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You'll add something on what I said, and maybe before we continue, just a short trailer, and then I'll show you what we're going to talk about, and you can add something on that. Yeah, we'll be back in a few seconds. Dear Michael, we are going to talk about, as I said before, you can see it there, IT impact, creating solutions with it. And our first point will be your guiding principle and your turning point. The second one, a case study, a real project you are engaged with, the social impact of the m-shwari project, a collaboration between Safaricom and NCBA. Is it Shwari? Did I mention it right? M-shwari.
M-shwari.
M-shwari. And you'll tell
M-shwari.
us what shwari means. And then at the end, your 3 tips for international projects with impact. Now, before we proceed, dear Michael, what did I leave out about you?
Well, I don't think you left out much, but there is one very important thing that I do, and that is mentorship. And some of my mentees are actually attending this session because I invited them.
Great, love that. Thank you for joining us. Great, great. And you find some fulfilling, that's your purpose, mentoring others to create impact. Love that. Love that. Great. And you are now living in Nairobi or working in Nairobi? Yes.
Yes, actually, right now I live and work in Nairobi. As you aptly said, I work for an IT company. I relocated back to Kenya in 2008,
Mm.
and quite some few interesting things were happening at the time, some elections that were happening. But
Mm.
I was happy to come back, and I
Yes.
came back with the organization that I now work for. So I had gone to the US to study, and after living there and working for a bit, I decided to come back because East or West, home is the
Home is
best.
home. Home is
Yes,
best.
yeah.
Home is best. I love that.
Mhm.
I love that. And that brings us to a first point. You've got a guiding principle and, of course, a
Mhm.
turning point. What's your
Yes.
guiding principle, dear Michael?
So my guiding principle is when you have an opportunity and you have access to a lot of maybe resources, it's always good to take that and give back.
Oh,
Look at perhaps where you came from. Look at something that really helped you along the way to get to where you are, and then see how you can use that to give back. And I'll talk about that later on in the mentorship part. Now, let me tell you a little bit about my turning point. I recall I was in class 5 in Kenya, primary school, and we were engaged in what we used to call art and craft. And I was making a toy drill. And someone just happened to be visiting our school, and the person, a lady, came and saw what I was making and said, "Hey, we have a creative toy making contest where we can enter this." And at that time, I could not wrap my head around what
Mm.
that entailed. And so what I was making was entered in in a competition, and it won first prize. Now, this is where my turning point came. They gave me three books to read, and at that time, I didn't have access to a lot of books. So one of them was an encyclopedia. One was a book about all the countries of the world at the time, and the third book was about all the various ethnic groups of Kenya. For me, getting access to those books was really an opening point for me, a turning point, because it really helped me to see the possibilities out there. Remember, at the time, I didn't have a lot of access to books. Now it gets even better. Those same people came and told me, hey, this drill that you made, we would like to go and demonstrate it at a show in Paris. So we will sponsor you to go there and stay for a week and show how this tool works. And Susan, I can tell you with absolute confidence, those two things changed my life forever, because traveling to France at that age was mind blowing. Remember, I had never been in a plane before. I have to say, some of the things that I ate, I had never seen them before. I had never even played or seen people that were different from me at the time. And from that day on, my mind was changed. Thank you.
Wow, wow. You realize a lot of possibilities. You realize someone is also seeing what you're doing, acknowledging, and that's also now your guiding principle. Do not forget where you come from. Do not forget those who lifted you up, right?
Yes,
Lot.
yes,
And now
absolutely.
also, so the power of books, sharing
Hmm.
knowledge, and also
Yeah.
traveling. I think those two things change our perspectives a lot. What do you think?
You're absolutely correct. If you look behind me, you'll see a bookshelf full of books. So
Great.
I tend to read a lot. I also tend to look at, read books that are also digital in format. I'm very curious, as you could tell from when I was narrating the story of the drill. I like to see
Yes.
how different things work. Of course, that got me into trouble a lot when I was young, because I would open things up just to see, how does this radio work? And that, of course, did not go very well with the parents. But yeah, books absolutely are a window into the world, and they really allow you to go to places that you may not physically be able to go, and at least at that time for me.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. I love
Mhm.
it. I love
Yeah.
your view. And now you
Mm.
also mentioned something interesting. Being
Mm.
curious is the first step. I love that too. And also that as a kid, you kept on opening things, asking yourself, how does it work? Which is very important. We
Yeah.
parents do not always understand that. I don't know whether you are a parent, but do parents today understand that better?
I think even today they're still a bit reticent to allow the kids to play around, experiment around. But I'm
Mm.
telling you, even traveling to the US and getting the opportunity to study IT fueled that curiosity. So I would encourage parents, and I am a parent too. I'm a father of two daughters. To if you see that kind of thing, just nurture it, because you never know.
Yes.
That is probably what is going to make that person just be, soar in the world. You get what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Love
Mhm.
your view. Love your it. Just nurture it. Don't stop it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Great. Dear Michael, now we are moving to our second point, the social impact of the m-shwari project. But before we do that, let's see who has joined and who is there for us. We've got,
Okay.
let me see, Tariq Khan saying hello. Hello back to you. Thank you so much.
Hi, Tariq.
And we've got Samson Baraza. Thank you for joining. You're saying, I'm glad to listen in on this great discussion. I must acknowledge that Mr. Michael has been an amazing mentor to me. Great to hear that. Great to hear that. And thank you for connecting. And Tariq is saying once again, thanks, Michael, for sharing your experience. Right, we'll move on to our second point, the social impact of the m-shwari project. Jamaica, what is that social impact and what does shwari mean, maybe, before we continue?
So, Shwari, I might not be able to tell you exactly what it means right now at the risk of misleading anybody, but I got involved in the m-shwari project by virtue of the fact that the people who are putting together that product, the solution, or they wanted to launch the product in the market, they needed some technology. They needed a place for the data. They needed a way to have that connectivity between the bank and Safaricom. And so they came to us. And at the time, I actually did not visualize the impact that this would have once it was launched. And later on, I started hearing people talking about this amazing tool that allows people who normally don't have access, say, to banks or don't have a lot of capital to use put in a regular bank to be able to save just using their mobile phone and even to be able to borrow for small projects. So for small scale traders, what in Kenya we call the juakali
Mm-hmm.
people, they have access to a place where they can actually sign up without having to fill any forms, having to go through some KYC or know your customer kind of process and get access to money. You might find this small trader who needs to borrow money to go to the market, buy some produce,
Yes.
come and sell that produce, and then repay the loan using their mobile phone. And this is part of what we call the kadogo economy. Kadogo means
Mm-hmm.
small
Small.
in Swahili. But so this might be small transactions, but when you aggregate them, it becomes big. So this makes a huge difference to a lot of people. And I was thinking about what to, this discussion, I went online and I was amazed to see that this m-shwari solution has been studied for the social impact, not only by people in Kenya. I saw one lady who submitted a paper for her MBA based on a study on the social impact of m-shwari, and she went to her home area in Kisii. Then I saw another study that was done by some people in the US,
Mm.
and I just thought to myself, at the time that we're engaging in this particular project, we didn't even know the impact that it will have on the population once it was launched. But I'm here to tell you that I feel very privileged to have been part of it
Yes.
because the technology is amazing, but when you see technology being utilized to change the lives of people, then to me that is just mind blowing.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah,
Changing people's lives in a positive way, creating that
exactly.
powerful impact, and
Mhm.
reaching also, giving those people access who are not privileged to get other things, and that's what I love there. I know where our parents came from. Maybe you used to live this Juakali thing and working small by small, day by day. And if they can now have this access even without having bank accounts, right?
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
amazing. It's amazing. M-Pesa was amazing already, but this is another level, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
This is on another level. And
yeah.
I was just looking at an article over the weekend that said that both men and women, in terms of owning phones in Kenya, equal numbers. So you can imagine the
Wow.
person who is out there in the rural areas. They have access to a phone. Sometimes I'm driving in Nairobi and I see a guy pushing a huge herd of cattle. He's traveled a long distance, but he has a phone. He's talking to somebody.
I remember Safaricom used that as advert, right? The picture of a Maasai phoning, talking.
Yeah,
Well, that's
I see that.
amazing.
It's amazing. The mobile phone has penetrated into all kinds of places in Kenya. And now on that particular device, they have access to these services that you and I are talking about.
Great, great. That means you scaled up even without. I mean, you made it easy for the consumer. The consumer must not have a lot of things. infrastructure, only a mobile phone and a telephone number, or how do you call it, a SIM card, whatever.
Exactly. That's all they need. They don't have to go through a cumbersome process of filling out some forms,
Mm.
going through this KYC or know your customer kind of process. Because as a user of M-Pesa, Safaricom already knows who you are. For you to
Yes,
sign up for M-Pesa, they conducted the KYC already.
yes.
Okay, and then they based on the way you use the M-Pesa product, they know your usage patterns. So, for example, when you go to borrow some money, they already have some kind of scoring algorithm based on the way you use your M-Pesa. So, for somebody who just needs that money, it's not a very cumbersome process for them to
No,
go through, and it's very, very helpful. It lowers the barrier for them to for financial inclusion, so to speak.
love that. No, no,
Yeah.
and you left out unnecessary steps and
Hmm.
really customer centered. How many people
Exactly.
are using m-shwari? What do you think?
Hmm. That's a good point. I actually don't have the numbers right on my fingertips,
But
but
maybe
but
some listener may know. Sorry.
based on anecdotal information, I can say quite a lot of people are using it, and
Mm.
it's a balance also between men and women.
50
So
50, as you said.
to say they are having access to this particular solution. Yes.
Great, great, great. I love that. I love that. Let's just see who is commenting on this. And we've got now James Juma Sindani. Thank you for joining us. You're saying cheers to Mr. Michael, such a great mentor with inspiring stories and has a great sense of humor too. I'm happy to hear from him. Thank you for confirming this. I
Very
love
happy that you
listening to
joined.
Michael too. You really got great fans. Love that. Keep on creating impact. Now, Michael, our
Hmm.
last point, your three
Yes.
tips for international projects with impact. Because here in Europe, I also see that people, you know it, you are also in the USA, people would think we from the West should have those from East Africa. And for me, it's a quite misleading notion because you've got the technology, you've got manpower, simple processes. Now, if someone would love to install or start an international project with impact, what are your three tips?
Okay, thank you so much. I think this is very, very important. So first of all, is to appreciate the culture of the people that you are dealing with. Okay, because that varies from place to place. What is
Yes,
acceptable in one place might not be acceptable in another one.
yes.
Also, take time to understand, even if you want to go and speak their local language a bit, understand in that local language what are the things that you should say and what are the things that you should not say. So the do's and don'ts. And then the other thing that I would say is remember as you're coming in to do the project, it's not about you, it's about them. It's about the people that you're trying to assist, so to speak. And so, if you have that in mind, it will ground you because it will allow you to perhaps take a little bit of time to understand those people a little bit better. And at the end of the day, that will mean that you have a successful project. I hope that is,
That's
an adequate.
amazing. Simple but impactful. It's not
Yes,
about you. That alone says it all. It's something bigger that will create
yeah,
an impact even if you're gone. Because
exactly.
with IT solution, with mobile phone, now, even if you're not working, what you taught your mentees or whatever you
Yeah,
engineered is still changing people's lives. So let's do it responsibly. So it's not about you, got it right. Try to know the culture, or not try, but understand the culture, engage with
yes.
them, and know
Mhm.
what you're doing. Wow.
Right.
Love it. Amazing. 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 Love it. Look, Michael, 20 minutes only. You're so fast. No unnecessary processes. We allocated 30 minutes. James, Tariq, Samson, if you have any questions, just come up with them. This is amazing. Now, Michael, I have another question now that we're good in time.
Mhm.
Um, what do you think? How many Kenyans are into this IT, are really interested in coding and making changes? Now, it's just a feeling, not a figure, but are people really engaging in such projects on the developer side, on the creation side, not consuming side? What would you say?
I would say that, first of all, let me just confess that I'm a recovering developer myself. Okay.
Love that. Yeah.
And the anecdotal information that I have, meaning that I'm not going to give you some hard numbers that, I pulled from some research paper, is that there are quite a few people who are engaged in developing mobile solutions. There are some who are interested in developing, websites or other solutions out there. And even in the group of mentees that I mentor, there are some who are aspiring developers.
Hmm.
And just because, as we were saying earlier, the mobile device has really penetrated in this country. So it follows then that there is a huge interest in people developing mobile apps, whether
Hmm.
they are for iOS devices or Android. And there are all kinds of apps here that are being developed by local Kenyans that are being utilized here. For example, we were talking about Safaricom. There is the Safaricom app. uh, there is there are some institutions that actually specialize in just training developers. And some of the people that I met, actually we discuss the fact that they are interested in doing that. So that is a huge deal.
Hmm.
And obviously there are a lot of Kenyans who are very well educated, university
Yes.
graduates,
Yes.
and really, really interested in IT. And so I would say, without coming up with absolute numbers, that based on my interactions with the mentees that I have, or even the incubation hubs that I have been part of in the past, there is a huge interest in development. And I do recall that at some point you are running some kind of initiative to train people on
Yes.
development.
Yes.
So perhaps some of the people that are attending this would be interested in bringing their younger brothers and sisters into that. You know, so you
Thank you
have the
so, so
the other
much.
developers coming up.
Exactly. Yeah, making them curious as long as they're still young. Yeah, thank you
Mhm.
for pointing that out and for answering my question. Yes, dear listeners, actually, it's next Saturday. We have another session, only 2 hours. Kids from all over the world, that could be Kenya or Germany or even only Kenyans as of 12 years, can join us via Zoom to learn how to code. It's simple and they'll just move a robot. But many kids who have who have visited the course, they say that was quite great, amazing, and it confirmed to them that it was the right decision they want to follow. Thank you so
Amazing.
much. Yeah, yeah. We'll talk about that at the backstage. Thank you so much for mentioning that. Dear
You're
Michael,
very
we've got
welcome.
a question
Hmm.
from Tariq.
Okay,
I don't know
so
whether Tariq is a he or she, but Tariq says, Michael, can you suggest me how I get software projects from Kenya?
okay.
I don't know whether
Um,
the question is clear enough for you, Michael.
I think I would need a bit of clarity, because from what
Yes.
I can see here, it's asking whether how he or she can get a software project in Kenya.
Mm.
I would perhaps need more information about that. And also, there is we can always engage post this one on one, just to get
Yes.
more information about it, and
Yes.
perhaps even introduce the person to, or Tariq Zahi. I suspected that, but it's always good to confirm. Um, so I can introduce Tariq to other people within my circle so that I can get more information about that. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Dear Tariq, I can see that you are on LinkedIn. Just connect to Michael and then you can discuss that one to one. I'm sure you'll get somehow. Great.
Fantastic.
Michael, that was
Mhm.
amazing. I love your view and your purpose. and the way you love your mentorship, passing on the knowledge and creating responsible solutions. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's really an honor for me to be here.
Sam, thank you so much. All you who listen to us, we are really happy for your engagement and see you soon. And
All right.
Michael, see you at the backstage, right?
Excellent. Thank you so much. Bye.